First off, can't play me, I ain't no Xbox. I'm pulling up, busting windows. I'm at your mama's spot, kicking cups, smacking dice. I'll make this block hot, no trapping here, slacking where? Wait, get your home right. I'm sick and tired of fucking crying and sleepless nights. Bitches approaching me, telling me they don't know of me. Oh, you think you slick, you think you got one up. You better ask my last nigga, cut his ass right up. Yeah. Can't cry over spilled milk if I knew it was rotten. And all these memories we had, they was quickly forgotten. Oh, this nigga think he's smoothie trying to cast it over me. Keep him lying through his teeth, leave his ass like Emily B. No pink turtleneck, but I'm feeling bad. You left, I can't let him go, but watch me loosen up. My grip, I'm hopping in my bag. I'm talking about that go off shit. I need a couple bags. Ain't talking about no go yard. Bitch, you geeking for. I'm really about the dragon, gon' cry no more. I had to tell that nigga stop playing with me before they find this picture of murder me. Be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me. I told his ass be careful with me. You better be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me.
Hello, my darlings. Hello, much love, hugs, and kisses. Welcome to the room and the next installment of Be More Careful, the revised edition by the king of urban fictions, Shannon Holmes. Please enjoy. Shannon Holmes wrote his first novel, Be More Careful, while in prison. When it was published, Be More Careful immediately became a #1 bestseller, making him a major name in a new generation of hip-hop fiction. He followed Be More Careful with the bestsellers Bad Girls and Never Go Home Again. He lives in North Carolina with his wife and their 2 daughters. Okay, my darlings, let's get it right into it. Okay? As it's heating up, darlings. It's heating up. We getting somewhere here. Okay? Here we go. Y'all gotta excuse me a little bit. My wire's all tangled today. That's how my setup wants to keep sliding around. Okay, here we go. Chapter 17. Black was having an anxiety attack. The butterflies were doing backflips in his stomach. He was sitting in Netta's kitchen, waiting for her to return from the hairdresser. Black was about to do something he never imagined himself doing. In his possession was a 7-carat diamond ring that cost him his arm and his leg. You only live once? What the hell? He wanted to do this thing right. Black was going to ask Netta to marry him. He loved her so much he just couldn't imagine life without her. Black had even sought the advice of his mother, who gave him her blessing. He also consulted his little brother Stink. Man, don't marry that hoe. Yo, you gonna be one sorry motherfucker if you did. As usual, he tried to sabotage their relationship any way that he could think of. Black disregarded Stink's comments. He was going through with it regardless. Stink would just have to deal with it. Now, all there was left to do was to pop the question to Netta. When she finally arrived home, Black greeted her at the door. "Hi, boo." she said as she entered the house, hugged him, and went on by him about her way. Hey, you eat yet? He asked. Yeah, I had a little something. You? 'Cause I can whip up something real fast if you're hungry, she said. Black shook his head no, with his eyes downcast as he looked away. What's the matter with you, Daddy? Why are you acting funny? She asked as she stopped what she was doing to pay him some special attention. Much love, hugs, and kisses to all those in the room and those entering. Nothing, he said as his eyes averted hers. It was all an act. While you was gone, something came in the mail for you. It's in the kitchen. He said as if something really as my dog is like taking my attention. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I keep blaming Canine, but he really does, I think, want to be a part of the show. I may have to start a series based on him. I don't know. Phew, let me start that paragraph again. Okay? My excuses. Or apologies, rather. Nothing, he said as his eyes averted hers. It was all an act. While you was gone, something came in the mail for you. It's in the kitchen, he said, as if it was something really not right about the picture. Netta, wondering what he could be talking about, rushed off into the kitchen. She noticed a long white box with a large bright ribbon attached. From the looks of things, it was a box of roses. Inside the box, laying on top of a dozen long stem roses, was a card. Picking it up, she quietly read the inscription. I love you, and I hope the next time we get together, it will be for the rest of our lives. The rest of the card was blank, no signature. Netta's mind was racing. The next time we get together, the next time, she thought, trying to put it together as a guilty conscience overwhelmed her. She thought her past had finally caught up to her. Then reason began to overcome her doubt. She knew she had never brought any guys to her house except Black. This had to be some prank perpetrated by some unknown character. I don't know who the fuck is playing games, but this shit is going straight in the trash, yo, she said, gathering a box of roses and proceeding to act on her statement. She wanted to get rid of it before Black inspected it. I wouldn't do that if I were you, yo. Look inside the box. There's something in it you might like, he assured her. At that moment, Netta knew it wasn't a gift from a former sex partner or some jealous ass broad. She realized Black had something to do with it. Her heart stopped racing and she calmed down. Sitting down at the kitchen table, she carefully examined the contents of the box, removing all the roses and fallen petals till she came across a small gray velvet box. Her eyes grew large with anticipation. She opened the box and almost fainted. The VVS E in color, 7 carat Marquise cut diamond caught her off guard. Ah, she screamed more out of greed than joy. Is this mine? She asked. Who else could it be for? Black asked, then walked over to her, taking the ring from her fingers and bending down on one knee. He grabbed her hand and romantically asked, Will you marry me? It was a scene straight out of a Hollywood movie. This was how every woman dreamed of receiving a marriage proposal. Teary-eyed, Netta responded, Yes, I will. Much love, hugs, and kisses to those entering the room. Black's mother was the wedding planner, All three had decided it was going to be a summer wedding. Cynthia was excited about having a daughter in law and was happy that it was Netta. They were doing something that she and Black's father never got around to doing. Little did she know, Netta never had any intention of marrying Black because she was already married to something else, the game. The only reason she agreed to marry him was so she could squeeze all that she could out of him before cutting him off. Netta wanted to see just how far Black would go for her. She was about to find out that his love had no limit. Meanwhile, Mimi seemed to be doing good by all appearances. Physically, she still looked fine as ever, but after a few short weeks of sniffing dope, she had a habit. Dope was like a miracle drug. She could use it to ease her pain. The empty feelings of rejection throughout her life and in the streets had led her down the wrong path. The pussy pound found her distant, short tempered, and moody. They began to shy away from her and vice versa. Eventually, everybody lost track of Mimi except the streets. They had her for sure. She spent all her time with her hustlers. Excuse me. She spent all her time with hustlers from all over the city. Whoever was willing to get her high or get high with her was who she was kicking it with. Mimi developed an insatiable appetite for dope. Too much was never enough. While under the influence, she turned into a nymphomaniac, and the word spread quickly amongst hustlers about her dope and sexual practices. And hustlers were lining up to take advantage of her. Dudes she normally wouldn't have given the time of day to now got her high and ran trains on her. Passing Mimi around from friend to friend was like a plate of food they could eat from. She was videotaped unknowingly, however, willingly participating in a threesome involving another female and a male. The streets were talking, and they were saying that Mimi was a dope whore. The videotape only proved it. What? Black yelled into his cell phone. He was talking to Sonny from New York City. I just took care of Ty. You ready so soon? Asked Sonny. In his mind, Black wondered how many other times had Sonny took care of Ty and not mentioned it. Yeah, your man Ty was just up here a couple days ago. I took care of him. I thought it was a little light from what you usually cop, but I took care of him. No sooner than the words left his mouth, Sonny knew he had made a terrible mistake. It was too late. The cat was out the bag. Y'all still working together, right? He asked, Sonny puzzled, trying to clear up any confusion. Working together? That bitch ass nigga works for me. Black didn't say what he was thinking. He was too busy trying to maintain his composure. Yeah, I'll see you in a few days, yo. I'll start again. Yeah, I'll see you in a few days, yo. I'll put what I want in your beeper. So have that shit ready for me, yo. Black said, ending the call. It was customary for him to call Sonny and let him know how much weight he wanted ahead of time to ensure that he could get as much as he needed at once. Black didn't like having to make a bunch of trips to the turnpike. New Jersey was ridiculous. Past that, he still hated New York and wasn't trying to have to make but one trip, not two and not three. Sonny would have him out there like that at times. Hanging up the phone, Black realized that something unexpected had come out of his brief conversation with Sonny. Ty's underhandedness. How long this nigga been stabbing me in the back, he thought, thinking all kind of craziness. Hello? What's this shit out here, yo? You been to New York and was copping from Sonny? You bitch ass nigga. What do you think? I wouldn't find out, huh? Thought you was slick, didn't you? How long you been pumping your dope out here on my spots, yo? Nah, yo, I wouldn't do no shit like that. Listen, Black, I was going to tell you, yo, but it's hard to catch up with you. Ty said weakly, trying to explain. Nigga, it ain't that hard to catch me, motherfucker. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Nigga, you crossed me. So, this is the thanks I get for putting your bum ass on, right? Black, it ain't like that, yo. You getting all the money. I need more money than I'm seeing. You need more money? Nigga, you was going hand to hand selling nickel vials of coke on the corner, wearing bootleg shit, remember? Remember who the fuck rescued you, yo? You ain't had it this good, yo. Remember your peoples was getting evicted? Who took care of that? Who, motherfucker? Black demanded to know. Me, Ty. Me, that's the fuck who, nigga. You work for me or nobody, motherfucker. Black growled. Scared to death, Todd had never seen him or heard him this mad before. Not since his uncle Briscoe got killed. And never once Black's rage directed toward him. See what I'm saying, yo, is it was too late. Ty had no more chances to speak any more words. Black hung up the phone, leaving a dial tone ringing in his ear. He had no more rap for Ty. Black was going to let his guns do the talking. On the other end of the line, Ty was afraid and confused. He decided to go ahead with his plans of going solo, especially after that conversation. He realized it would be in his better interest to lay low for a little while, at least until Black calmed down. Just as Black was trying to fade away from the game, and just as he was beginning to look forward to the future, marrying Netta, having kids, going legit, this situation with Ty had to pop up. Not one to walk away from a challenge. Black had to meet this thing head on and let the chips fall where they may. It was an unseasonably cold, rainy spring morning as Black was making his way across town to pay for Netta's wedding gown. There, out of nowhere, he saw Ty's white Mercedes Benz station wagon double parked in front of the Yellow Bowl, a local greasy spoon on Greenmount Avenue. Let me say, if that place is still open and you are in Baltimore, visiting Baltimore around the area, please go there and eat. It's on Greenmount, right below Greenmount and Jesus, what is it? I really want to say 25th, but I don't think it's 25th. I think it's higher than that. What is the cross street right there? I can see it. It's a gas station on one corner, former movie theater. Melba's. It's across the street from Melba's, the nightclub. Okay, that's the best I can give you. Okay, if it's still open, go there and eat. Okay, the food is delicious. You know I'm fat, and I know all the good eateries in and around Baltimore. Okay, so the Yellow Bowl is a must spot. Okay, it is a little greasy spoon. On the outside, it's unassuming, but when you get your plate, you'll be happy I sent you there. Okay, all right. And that was just like, you know, much love, hugs, and kisses to y'all. Y'all know I do this when I read the book. I go back home. This book takes me home. Okay, helps my homesickness. All right. Out early, getting ready to open up his new shop, and hungry as hell. I did not just say that. I'm fat and I'm hungry. Out early, getting ready to open his new shop, and hungry as hell. Ty stopped to grab a bite to eat. Although he was wearing a bulletproof vest, he'd forgotten his gun in the car. Parking a half block away, Black walked swiftly back up the street to the restaurant. He was hoping Ty would be at the counter with his back to the door. He was hoping he'd catch him sleeping. This was war, and there was no playing fair. Wearing black army fatigues, Black entered the restaurant with his hand jammed in his army coat. Head down, he peeped from underneath the bill of his hat to see what Ty was doing. Ty had his back turned to him, and Black could see he was paying for his food. If not for the horrified look that spread across the cashier's face, Ty would have never noticed him. Black was creeping up behind him, gun in hand. As Ty turned around, he looked at the sinister figure coming at him. They stared at each other for what seemed to be an eternity, but only a split second. They were like two gunslingers from the Wild West who were about to draw. This was do or die. Ty flinched, first reaching for a gun that wasn't there, realizing he'd left it in the car. Black already had his 12-gauge sawed-off shotgun with a pistol grip pulled out. The restaurant erupted with gunfire. The first shot slammed Ty up against the wall, hitting him in the chest as his vest absorbed the blow. Why is this nigga still standing and why he ain't bleeding? Then Black realized he was wearing a bulletproof vest. From then on, it was curtains as Black aimed for his face. His next shot killed Ty on impact. That wasn't enough, though. He kept firing, nearly decapitating Ty. A restaurant employee was in the back calling 911. The old black woman gave the police an accurate description of Black. As soon as he finished emptying his gun, he turned around, flew out the door, and hit the streets. Freeze, motherfucker! Drop your weapon and get on the ground. A cop yelled at Black as he took cover behind his patrol car. Black thought about his options. Trying them wasn't one of them. He was out of ammunition. He didn't want to go out in a hail of bullets, becoming another young black male slain by the Baltimore Police Department. This wasn't the blaze and glory he wanted to die in. Black was forced to surrender. Drop the gun slow, another cop screamed as he took a deadly aim at Black's head. This was his last warning. He'd get no more. They were preparing to gun him down. Black willingly complied, tossing aside his weapon. He slowly dropped to the pavement, lying face down, spread eagle as dozens of armed police officers cautiously approached him. He was arrested without any further incident. The news of Ty's death and Black's arrest spread through the streets like wildfire. Netta got the news from Black's mother via phone. Later, Black called her himself from the station. Hey, baby, you all right? She asked, sounding concerned. Yeah, I'm cool. I guess you heard by now what happened. I can't really talk, so don't ask me nothing crazy. Just listen. Black paused to collect his thought. He knew he was in trouble. Now he needed Netta to come through for him. I need you to go to the block and see Stizan for me. You know who I'm talking about. Don't say his name. Tell him to give you everything he got for me. Everything. Of course Netta knew who Black was talking about. Stan. She made it her business to know all his business. She knew all his lieutenants personally. This information would serve her well now that Black wanted her to collect all of his money off the street. He wanted this done immediately, before anybody got any funny ideas. He would have gotten his family to handle this, but as a rule, he never involved his peoples in the game. Okay, I'll take care of it. What do you want me to do with it when I get it? She asked. Take half to my mother and the other half I want you to use as a retainer for a good lawyer, Black replied. What about me? Who's going to take care of me now that you're gone? Greed began to consume her. She began making other plans for that money. Netta, you listening? Black asked, snapping Netta out of her scheme. I'm listening, boo. But her mind was on that money. Netta, I want you to know, Is you going, no, excuse me, Netta, I want to know, is you going to ride this thing with me or what? Because if you ain't, now is not the time to let me know. I don't want to be thinking one thing when it's something else, yo. Anybody can be with me during the good times, but it takes someone special to hang in there when the chips are down, yo. Black gently said. Boo, I'm here for you, Netta stated, in complete contradiction to what she was feeling and thinking. No matter what happens, I'll always be here for you. You don't have to worry about nothing on this end. That's what I hoped you said, yo. I'm gonna beat this case. Watch. Black boldly predicted. It was a relief for him to know that Netta had his back and loved him to wait for him. Maybe we can still get married over at city jail, thought Black to himself. Netta, I got to go. The police is sweating me to get off the phone. I'll call you after I see the judge and get over to city jail. Don't forget to take care of that for me, he said before hanging up. Netta clicked her phone to make sure the line was clear. Then she dialed central booking, posing as a bail bondsman. Hello? Central booking. It was the deep, husky voice of the desk sergeant on the other line. Hello, this is Erica Shaw from Slick Rick Bail Bonds. I would like to know the criminal charges against my client, Deshaun Williams, and also his bail. Hold on for a minute, miss, the desk sergeant said as he punched Black's name into the computer. Ma'am, you have a very bad man on your hands. His charges are murder in the first degree, reckless endangerment, unlawful possession of a firearm, and discharging a firearm within city limits. How does that grab you? I could go on forever, but I don't have all day. And by the way, there's no bail for murder, one defendant anymore in the state of Maryland. You people should know that. So Billy the Kid will have to wait for his day in court. Thank you, sir, said Netta. This meant the money was all hers, all of it. All she had to do was collect it, which wasn't a problem. Unlike most cases when a hustler goes to jail and the other parties on the street refuse to pay, this situation was not Black's. Stan and the rest of the Black's lieutenants gave up every last dime owed. The fear factor weighed heavily in their minds. They didn't know for sure if Black would be found guilty. Either way, they certainly weren't trying to feel the wrath of Black should he ever come home. On the other hand, Netta was naive when it came to the legal system. She thought Black was history. She just knew he'd be tried, convicted, and sentenced to forever. Black ain't never getting out, she convinced herself. Acting on that ignorant feeling, she went ahead with her scheme, beating Black out of a little over 250 grand. Then she placed a block on her phone so she couldn't receive collect calls. Believing Black wouldn't be home no time soon, she went jewelry shopping with a portion of his money, stashing the rest. In Baltimore City Jail Annex, Black went ballistic. He found out Netta robbed him. The money was a small thing. He had plenty of paper. He had plenty of paper. It was the principle. He couldn't believe she had the heart to steal from him. Didn't Netta know he was a stone cold killer? Didn't she know what he'd do to her? Black was heartbroken. Slowly, it began to sink in that the only woman he'd ever loved didn't love him. That was a cold realization, arousing a hatred in him like he'd never known. He never felt hate for a person like he felt hate for Netta. Black swore he'd get her back one day. In jail or out of jail, he'd get her back.
Trying to make you understand. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping, their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming, red work is kept. It's beef in the east, protect the chest from the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping, and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming, red work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. Murphy homes, the land of the chrome and the raw bone. Yellow tape for sanity, labeled a cold zone. Ammunition, ranging from text to crossbows. Run up in grids, quick to put the pistol cross stones. We rapping it ain't no secret. Taurus between the pelvis and the briefs. We got pieces that will rip off pieces. Double clips take together will endanger the species. My crime now mixed with law, so my paper increases. I make $1 million on a busy corner. Master killers with a vicious corner. Gotta run else to California. Y'all niggas know how Baltimore is. Stay sending bad work to the mortician and the florist. What I'm out of town is their story. Then escorted to the city limits. Mine's that 6-digit fortune. These locals are compelled by the evil forces. While haters get 18 homes like they up in golf courses. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, you scheming where that work is kept. There's beef in the east, protect your chest in the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, you scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. From my locks and my chips and my all black. So I put them war wounds and battle incisions. Granted me wisdom, plenty gold, held me as a child in his bosom. Feeding me the milk of the world. I was given the game and taught the rules. My urban wizards got 2 words with his flow. The suburban vicious. Matter of fact, got you more. It's intense and malicious. Yeah, they don't give a fuck up. I like to send a shout out to all my bitches from the knock 'em down to the pussy pound. Keep it tight, my bitches, cause every day in the underworld we facing dilemmas. Do we run or bust that gun? We'll face it together, my niggas. Set pop running forward with big plans and big decisions. Ain't no stopping the hustle, so keep it together, my niggas. It's one love. All it takes is one snitch to run it all. Keep your circle close knit, cause a brick house won't fall. Keep your basement door locked, don't let them rats infiltrate. Cause if you see one, then you got 20 that poison the food on your plate. Listen, build your man, cause I got a plan to make it right. Please don't come through tripping, cause you won't make it through the night. You get be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. There's beef in the east, protect your chest from the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. There's beef in the east, protect your chest in the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex.
Okay, before I start again, a special shout out to my darlingest of darlings. I see you, Mr. Kevin Leroy. Wifey loves you. Okay. So he gets a special shout out always. Okay. Part 3. The future. Chapter 18. It was a typical hot summer's day in Baltimore. The dog days of summer were in full swing. The sweltering heat and humidity turned row homes and apartments into saunas. Everybody and their mother was out on the stoops, porches, corners, and streets trying to catch a cool breeze. Tone and his cousin Man were out collecting money from various workers and places around the city. Tone was real popular in Baltimore, even though he was from the Bronx. "Yo, Stu, you got that?" Tone yelled out the window of his customized black Mazda MPV. His minivan was equipped with DVD, video games, and 4 small color televisions in the dashboard and headrests. He had the loudest car stereo that money could buy, and his chrome 20-inch 5-star rims sparkled under the streetlights. As he came to a complete stop near a group of young men on the corner of North Avenue and Castle Street, heads turned and admired his car. Baltimore didn't need to see the New York license plate tag. The way the car sat, you knew the nigga was from somewhere else. One of the guys standing in the group on the corner broke away from the pack and headed over to the MPV. It was Stu, his girlfriend's cousin. He was also a constant fuck-up. Over the years, he had beaten Tone or shortchanged him out of so much money and packages it wasn't even funny. "Yeah, how many you want, yo?" Stu asked playfully, yet in a curious tone as he approached the minivan with a few vials of coke in hand, like he was serving a customer. Tone had anticipated Stu's prankish mood and countered it with a joke of his own. He tapped his cousin Man on the leg as if to say, "Watch this." As soon as Stu stuck his head through the car window, he put a gun under his chin. "Yo, son, what the fuck I tell you about playing with me like that? Now where the fuck is my money, motherfucker?" Tone said lowly through clenched teeth. Stunned, Stu looked directly in his eyes for a sign that would tell him Tone was playing. He saw none. This nigga is having a bad day. He must be tired of my shit, thought Stu. "Tone, what the fuck is you doing? Why are you playing with that gun, yo? I swear to God, as soon as I finish knocking off this pack, you got that. I swear, yo. I ain't never gonna play with your money again. I'm gonna bring you straight paper," he continued on real shook with a barrel pressed. Excuse me, let me reread that. He continued, I guess that's what it say. He continued on real shook with a barrel pressed against his chin. Tone was enjoying chumping Stu. This was one of the few times he was able to turn the tables on him. Unable to control his laughter any longer, Tone removed the water gun from underneath his chin and squirted him in the face. "Aha!" he burst out laughing, pointing his finger at Stu. Stu didn't like being put on the spot. However, knowing how much paper he was indebted to Tone for, he let the shit slide, taking his t-shirt to wipe the water off his face. "I knew the gun was fake, yo. I was just playing around with you. Tone, you ain't crazy enough to pull a gun out on me. I laugh and joke, nigga, but I don't play." "You don't play neither, nigga," said Tone, still laughing, banging on the steering wheel. "Show you right. Stu, I always knew you was a pussy. This only proved it, son. I wish you could have seen your face. Now you talking that killer shit. Nigga, you ain't gonna kill nothing or see nothing die." Tone continued, mocking him in a girlish voice. "I swear to God, I'ma pay you this time. Please don't kill me. I ain't say it like that, yo. Remember where you at, Tone? This is B more. Where you see more. Nigga, you better be more careful. I could have got you slumped for that shit, yo. My peeps is right down there and you know they strapped. Ain't nothing happening to me on this block. Whatever, nigga. You still sounded like a bitch. Tone really liked Stu because he was naturally funny. And anybody that made him laugh, he could tolerate, no matter what the shortcomings were. Stu's weakness was he was like to hustle. Stu's weakness was he liked to hustle and get high, like oil and water. These two things don't mix. Most times, getting high got the best of him, causing him to mess up money. Shifting gears, Tone spoke up. On the real though, when you gonna break me off with my dough? I know you got some money. You been out here all day. Stu reached in his pockets and handed him a knot of money, which was a lot less than it appeared to be. It was 200 in singles. Tone quickly filed through the money, counting it up in his head. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? He asked. It's money, ain't it, yo? Give it, Tone. Wait a minute. Okay, I hate the way that, I know I've said this in previous episodes, but I hate the way that Kindle, disrespected this book when it transferred it from the hard copy to the digital copy. They needed their own editor, to be quite honest. And I think they rely on us as the subscribers to Kindle or the readers of Kindle to fix it for them. Because I've seen edits in this book already that I know happened via Kindle. I know these problems weren't in the hard copy. And yes, I'm getting the hard copy. I just have to remind myself the next time I go out in Amazon. Okay. It's money, ain't it, yo? Give it to one of them strippers you fucking down at El Dorado's. Better yet, give it back. I'll show you what to do with it. Once again, Stu got over. The joke was really on Tone. Stu knew how much he hated singles. Tone looked at him like he was crazy, then pulled off, leaving Stu standing in the middle of the street. When he reached the next block, he hopped out his car and handed the singles to the first group of kids he saw. They would have ice pops and ice cream all day on him. In the passenger seat, Man sat fuming, unassumed at his cousin's handling of Stu. He felt Stu was taking advantage of them. Fed up, Man decided to say something about it. Yo, Tone, you can't be letting these Baltimore cats just walk over you like that. You giving New York niggas a bad name. Word up. Man said real serious to his cousin. Son, what do you want me to do? Kill him? That's my fucking girl's cousin. Me and that kid been through mad shit together. He helped me get on my feet when I was down here by myself. Yo, son, help me down. I must be doing something right. I'm getting money, ain't I? Asked Tone, trying to check his cousin back in his place. That's all fine and dandy, motherfucker, but I ain't just talking about that kid, and I ain't just talking about money. It's the principle of this shit. What about all them other niggas you let slide? Yo, Tone, you gotta start busting your guns, son. These lame ass niggas are starting to take you for a joke, said Man, blowing the situation way out of proportion. These cats is too slow to be getting over on you like that, he added. Much love, hugs, kisses to those entering the room. Welcome. Compared to New York City, every other city and its residents seemed slow to Man. To him, New York was the capital of the entire world, the center of his universe. It was all he knew. Tone shot a dirty look at Man. He saw this day coming a long time ago. The day when man would try to tell him how to carry himself. The day man would try to tell him how to handle his business. Man was as geographical as they come. He represented New York and the Bronx 24 hours a day. He thought he was better than everybody in Baltimore just because he came from that city. Tone had hoped in time he'd grow out of his pro-New York attitude, but man never did. So now it was time to check him. Yo, don't get it fucked up. There's real niggas and fake niggas everywhere. Don't judge a cat by where he's from, cause it ain't where you from, it's how you come. There are cats out here from New York I don't give a fuck about. And there are cats from B-More I got crazy love for. And they got love for me. You got thorough niggas out here like anywhere else. You better recognize everybody out here ain't lames or slow. I'm out here to get money, bottom line. I ain't out here on no rah-rah shit or New York versus B-More shit. Let them other niggas go to war over that geographical shit. I'm trying to get money, son. Word to the mother. Tone put man in his place and said what needed to be said. He was trying to get him to recognize the game before it was too late. There was a time he thought like his cousin, but over the years he wised up. He saw too many New Yorkers get killed sleeping on cats from B-More. No matter what Tone did, though, he couldn't accept the stigma of his birthplace. He couldn't escape the stigma of his birthplace. On the streets of B-More, he was called New York Tone. Though he didn't like it, he got used to it. It was better than being called by his real name, Anthony. Next to money, what Tone liked so much about B-More was it reminded him so much of home. Its people, crowded streets, and live nightlife. It was just a smaller version of New York. A couple of sections of Baltimore referred to as Little New York or Baby New York, in reference to all the gunplay action and drama that existed there. Another thing about Baltimore was its women. They were a fringe benefit, something that came along with the game. He loved them and they loved him. The only problem was he had a girlfriend. Sonia was short, dark-skinned, shapely, and fine. Half American, half Jamaican, her and Tone were high school sweethearts. Shortly after graduating from Evander Childs High School in the Bronx, she decided to attend Morgan State University in Baltimore. Upon arriving at school, her cousin Stu pulled her coat to all the money to be made out there. She in turn told Tone, who hopped on the next thing smoking down there. Had Tone not come to B-More to sell drugs, it's highly unlikely that their relationship would have survived. Actually, it was amazing they were still together. The way he cheated. Even though he loved Sonia. I guess Sonia is right. Even though he loved Sonia, he was having sex with so many females, he thought he was Hercules. He wanted to knock all of them off. He was like a kid in a candy store with a pocket full of dough. He wanted to sample whatever caught his eye. On the strength he was making Tone, on the strength he was from, and, am I reading this right? On the strength of where he was from and all the money he was making, Tone found no shortage of sex partners. He certainly wasn't a bad-looking guy. Brown skin, tall, curly hair, and a chipped front tooth were his best physical attributes. Not to mention His heavy New York accent was like an aphrodisiac to the ladies. I ain't gonna lie, okay? 20 years ago, and I said 20 years ago when this book came out, the women in Baltimore really did like the New York guys, for real. That accent can make your panties wet. I ain't lying. That's just my commentary. But that's true. A lot of the women in Baltimore did deal with a lot of men, including myself, did deal with a lot of men from New York because uh, it's not 6 degrees of separation in Baltimore. It's more like 3 degrees. You can throw a stone and either hit an ex, your best friend's ex, or a relative of your ex, or somebody that's fucking with your ex. I mean, really. So you tend to look outside. Yeah. And that's just a little something, a little commentary for myself to put it in perspective. So that is really true about Baltimore at the time. I mean, maybe that's how I got caught. I don't know. All right. Tone loved to frequent strip joints. His favorite was El Dorado's in downtown Baltimore. All right, put a pin in it. El Dorado's was the seediest, and I hate to say this, it was a seedy strip joint, and the bitches in there did bottles, okay? And when I say do bottles, that means they will fuck you if you bought a bottle of champagne. That's what doing bottles was, right? They would do bottles, okay? You could pay to have sex. They was basically mostly um, women of the night, literally. And it was open 24 hours and shit. And it was right across from the night spot, Pollock Johnny's. I don't even know if Pollock Johnny's still open. And here's the funny thing about it, right? It's right cat a corner to police headquarters. And it was called the Block because on that block was all the sex shops, the strip joints. El Dorado's was seedy as shit. Okay? All right. It was one called Circus. When I was a kid, I really thought it was the circus, and I used to ask to go in there when we would drive by. I think it was Gay Street, Baltimore and Gay. Yeah, Baltimore and Gay Street. And my mama would say, "No, you can't go in there. That's a circus for adults." And I never understood till I was grown what she meant that was a circus for adults. I mean, I had my mind, wait, I can't wait till I'm old enough to go in that circus. I can't wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah. By the time I was old enough, I knew what was inside that building that said circus. Okay? All right. Tone loved to frequent strip joints. His favorite was El Dorado's in downtown Baltimore. He had every stripper that worked there at least twice. After the club closed, he'd come back and pick one of them. Then it was off to the nearest hotel, all for a small fee, of course. The rates varied according to who you were. Tone, being the regular he was, got a discount. Oh, my bad, y'all. I pressed the button. Wrong button. We was getting ready to go to the club, y'all. All right. I forgot where I was. The rates varied according to who you were. Tone, being the regular, he got a discount. Most hustlers calls this tricking, but not him. This was an investment in a sure shot thing. The way he saw it, if you bought a broad a Happy Meal, then you was tricking too. A dumb one at that, you still might not get none. He, on the other hand, he could expect works since he paid for it. The best part was when he was finished, he could get up and walk out the door and not say one word. In his mind, Tone tried to justify his cheating way. He reasoned if he could get what I needed, in his mind, Tone tried to justify his cheating way. He reasoned, if I could get what I needed at home, I wouldn't have to creep around. Sonia refused to perform oral sex on him. This was some mandatory shit for Tone. Are you crazy? I'm not doing that. I don't want to. Tone tried every trick in the book, but nothing worked. They'd been together for 4 years, and it was still the same old shit. in the bedroom. Tone figured if she wasn't ready now, then she'd never be ready. Now I'm gonna pause here because before I didn't when they break a chapter up, I would keep reading. But this time I'm gonna put a little something in it for y'all before I continue reading the chapter. They've broken the chapter up with the asterisk, which means we're going somewhere else. So let me break it up. All right, my darlings. Back to the second half of um back to the second half of chapter 18. Okay. In the middle of the night, Tina awoke to the sounds of muffled noises that escaped from under the bathroom door and down the hall. A light sleeper, she laid in bed wondering what the sounds could be. Silently creeping, she walked down the pitch black hallway towards the bathroom. The bright light escaping from beneath the door was her guide. This must be Mimi, Tina thought as she inched closer, careful not to make any noise. She hadn't seen Mimi in weeks. Tina wanted to have a talk with her about her disappearing acts. Reaching the bathroom door, the noises grew louder. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Tina stood at the door, listening and unsure of what to do next. This isn't what I think. Please, Lord, don't let it be. Her baby girl was getting high. On the other side of the door, Mimi was snorting heroin. Scoop after scoop, she shoveled it into her nostrils. Empty glass-lined bags of dope littered the floor. Mimi sat on the edge of the tub, too absorbed in her activities. She never heard her mother's sobs from the other side of the door. Bang, bang, bang! Tina beat on the door so loud and hard that it shook violently. Mimi, open this door right now. Wait a minute, yelled Mimi. Startled, she almost dropped her dope. I'm using the bathroom, she said, stalling. You open this door right now before I break it down. You ain't fooling nobody, Mimi. I know what you're doing in there. Ignoring her mother, Mimi stuffed the rest of the dope in her bra. Then she grabbed all the loose baggies that laid around and flushed them down the toilet. Straightening up, she finally unlocked and opened the door, which her mother was pushing on to get in. What the hell do you think you're doing? Tina asked as she got all up in Mimi's face, examining it closely. Grabbing her daughter, Tina forcefully held Mimi's face inches from the bathroom mirror. What's that? Tina asked, demanding her daughter to answer. Looking closely at herself in the mirror, Mimi saw tiny traces of white powder around the rim of her nose. Oh, it's nothing, she answered. Nothing, huh? You putting that junk up your nose? I guess that's baby powder, huh? I don't know what the devil has gotten into you. Why you fooling with that stuff? You look like death in the face. For the first time in a long time, Mimi was forced to examine herself. The person she saw staring back at her was one who carried many titles, from whore to gold digger, and now junkie. The person in the mirror wasn't her. It was a tired-looking imposter. Ma, I need help. I can't stop getting high, she said as a tear rolled down her face. Tina released the hold she had on her daughter's face and embraced her. Tina couldn't have anything come in her house and hurt her more than to see her daughter getting high. When would it end? For Tina, she had lived the life of a hustler's wife all her life. It was a life she couldn't convince herself had been a waste. Now her hustling husband was nowhere to be found unless she went looking, which she didn't. Not to mention her son Timmy shot dead, senseless over money. Her life was worth more than that money. Her other son, Tommy, in jail for the rest of his life. Oh, there was nothing sadder than this moment for Tina. The tears that rolled down her daughter's cheek sparked tears in her still left from her marriage, still left from her sons, and tears she didn't even know she had for her daughter. If she could wipe out every drug on the market, she would. Admitting her drug problem to her mother was the first step for Mimi on the long road to recovery. Secretly, she entered a 90-day inpatient program in Bethesda, Maryland called Second Genesis. Her mother's pastor arranged this from the church. May I speak to Mimi? The long lost voice could be heard through the handset. Netta? Asked Tina excitedly, knowing the voice sounded familiar. Hi, Miss Johnson. How's everything going? Said Netta cheerfully. Netta, I've been thinking about you. Where you been? You could have called, you know. I've been worried sick about you, she said. It was true. Netta hadn't been in contact with anybody in quite some time. She had been too preoccupied with Black. Now that he was in prison, though, she was starting to reestablish her old ties. I'm sorry, Miss Johnson, but I've been working. I did mean to call, but I've been busy. Most of the time it's too late to call when I get off work. It's no excuse. I'm sorry. You know how time flies, said Netta apologetically. It's okay. I know how it is. I'm just glad to hear from you, baby. Where you working at? She asked. Maryland University Hospital. I do clerical work. How's little Timmy? Netta asked. He's doing good. He's getting so big. That boy is eating me out of house and home. He's asleep now, taking his nap. You know he loves you. Always points to your graduation picture, said Tina. Miss Johnson, is Mimi home? Asked Netta. No, no, baby. She's down south taking care of my sick mother. She'll be back soon, she said, lying. And Tina was a churchgoer. She didn't like lies. It was against her religion. But for her daughter, Tina went against her God. Mimi begged for secrecy. So, even though Tina didn't want to lie, she did it for Mimi's sake. She is? Asked Netta, surprised to hear that Mimi went down south. She wasn't the traveling type. She was one of those people who would never leave Baltimore. Born there, die there. Netta thought it must be serious for her to leave. I hope your mom has a speedy recovery, said Netta. Yeah, baby, she's doing better. Mimi should be home soon. Well, will you tell her to call me? Asked Netta. Oh, baby, you know I will. She'll be so glad to hear from you. The conversation ended like that. Netta didn't give a second thought. She'll see Mimi when she gets back. Mimi was the prettiest fiend in the rehab center, bar none. Surprisingly, there were just as many white people in rehab, if not more. But from the start of her rehabilitation efforts, she was doomed. She felt uncomfortable and out of place. She was surrounded by hardcore addicts and couldn't identify with those people at all. The dope fiends and crackheads in her group class told horror stories about how they went about getting their daily fix or hit. Mimi wasn't feeling the group or the class or none of it. In her mind, it never got that bad for her. The hardest thing for her to do was stand before the group and say, Hi, my name is Mimi, and I'm a recovering heroin addict. She could barely get it out. Even when she did, it didn't sound right. Her drug counselor accused her of being in denial. In all actuality, she was in rehab for all the wrong reasons. Mimi wasn't there to rid herself of her dope habit. She was there because she got caught getting high, not because she wanted to stop. Mimi was there because she didn't want anyone else to find out just how badly she'd fallen off, as if she could undo the damage done to her reputation. Mimi was only there to salvage her image, what little of it was left. Her heart wasn't into recovery. The whole time she was there, she thought about getting high. By the time her 90-day rehabilitation period was over, nobody even knew she was gone. That was just the way she wanted it. Mimi had gained her weight back in all the right places and was looking better than ever. After her release, she hooked right back up with Netta and the pound. With Black locked up in city jail, her and Netta were thick as thieves again. It was just like old times. As the years passed, Netta led and Mimi followed. The pussy pound was still in demand, and everybody was prospering, running their game like they ran through and discarded hustlers like old clothes. Netta in the forefront and Mimi trailing a split second behind. Little did Netta and Mimi know, but their past sins were just about to catch up with them.
First off, can't play me, I ain't no Xbox. I'm pulling up, busting windows. I'm at your mama's spot, kicking cups, smacking dice. I'll make this block hot. No trapping here, slacking where? Wait, get your home right. I'm sick and tired of fucking crying and sleepless nights. Bitches approaching me, telling me they don't know of me. Oh, you think you slick? You think you got one up? You better ask my last nigga, cut his ass right up. Yeah. Can't cry over spilled milk if I knew it was rotten. And all these memories we had, they was quickly forgotten. Oh, this nigga think he's smooth, he tryna catch and over me. Keep him lying through his teeth, leave his ass like Henry B. No pink turtlenecks, but I'm feeling bad. US, I can't let him go, but watch me loosen up. Like grip, I'm hopping in my bag. I'm talking about that go wall shit. I need a couple bags. Ain't talking about no go yard, bitch. You geeking for? I'm really about to drag it, gon' cry no more. I had to tell that nigga stop playing with me before they find this picture on murder. Be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. I should let you handling me. I told you just be careful with me. You better be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. I should let you handling me.
Okay, my darling. So this has been chapters 17 and 18. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have missed any part in the series, they are all in the playlist, A Book, A Bake, and Revelations. Please feel free to go back and if you need like to catch up on the storyline and the characters. We are now 75% through the book. We are on page 204 of 277. That's via Kindle, okay? I will be starting at chapter 19 on the next reading. Much love, hugs, and kisses to you all. Thank you for coming by, showing your support. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and make sure you have all notifications so you don't miss the live readings, okay? And feel that energy from the live itself. Don't forget to hit that up like, and I thank you all. I thank you. And I thank you, Shannon Holmes, for putting this art to paper. It's been a great read. I enjoy reliving the book with you and reliving my life 20 years ago. It's not about me, it's fiction. But it takes me someplace. And I hope I take you there with me. See you on the next ones, darlings. Love you.